Right, 18 March 2024, and today I'm very excited to be giving you today's update. This is the first update of the week, and I hope to give you about 20 stories a day. And let's get started. Let's move very quickly because we need to do this within a very short space of time. So let's start with Nelson Chamisa. Nelson Chamisa attended a funeral yesterday, a burial yesterday, of one of the prominent members of society, and he managed to speak. So Nelson Chamisa has not spoken a lot over the last few months. So you can see pictures of Nelson Chamisa here. He was with Chibaya. You can see Chibaya there, and also the mayor of Masvingo was there. So Chamisa managed to attend here with members of ZANU-PF. There are also members of ZANU-PF here. It was a community event, and he was welcomed. This was a Roman Catholic family, from my understanding, and there was a mixture of different political parties. But what is important here is what Chamisa said during this burial. Chamisa revealed that he is still pursuing dialogue with Mnangagwa, and he has gone to SADC and asked SADC to mediate in the dispute in Zimbabwe. So what you are looking at is obviously a continuation of where we were before. Chamisa is looking for dialogue with Mnangagwa, with the end result of dialogue, of power sharing. So a power sharing arrangement is what Chamisa wants here. And I want to show you that clip where Chamisa said this, and then we'll move on to other stories. Right, so Chamisa is still looking for dialogue. This is what is happening, and we'll be getting updates on that. It's very important for us to understand where we're going, and the direction is the direction of dialogue. However, Mnangagwa is doing his own thing. Mnangagwa is somehow hoping that he can still get a third term. So what Mnangagwa has done is he has gone and had a meeting with all the youths, the youth leaders, sometime this weekend. So this is very strange because remember, the youth support Mnangagwa's third term, and I want to show you the post here by ZANU-PF cyber team. So they're saying here, and they're showing a picture of themselves with Mnangagwa, and you can see Mnangagwa at the center there. ZANU-PF cyber team, ZANU-PF provincial youth chairpersons meets president and first secretary of ZANU-PF Mnangagwa ahead of planned provincial interdistricts. So they're planned provincial interdistricts, but Mnangagwa is hoping to use the youths to launch his third term campaign. So let's see how that goes. Ana Chiwenga, they will not allow it. If you saw this account here on Twitter, they are also a rival group within ZANU-PF, and they are saying Chiwenga is looking to stop Mnangagwa at the referendum. If ever Mnangagwa was to succeed within ZANU-PF with the third term bid, Chiwenga and his group, they are waiting for him at the referendum. That's what he's saying. But I don't think it will get that far. If Mnangagwa continues this third term thing, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And I don't mean little trouble, a lot of trouble. So I think this is just the last kicks of a dying horse. He's going to pretend as if he's doing it, but he's not going to do it. There's no way that Mnangagwa will succeed. This thing is very unpopular in ZANU-PF. No one wants a third term from Mnangagwa. Then let's go to Job Sikhala. I've tried to get hold of Job Sikhala. I've contacted Job Sikhala and asked him if he's out of Zimbabwe for treatment. Unfortunately, he's not able to tell me where he is. He's not responding to my messages. So I don't know where Job Sikhala is. But as we say, he is out of the country. That is confirmed. It's in the newspaper reports. Job Sikhala talks to people like Trevor Ngube, and I'm sure Ngube would not publish in his newspapers such a thing without confirming it with Job Sikhala. So we'll hear whenever the time comes, when he's willing, he's going to tell us where he is. Then in terms of the blue movement, Chamisa is doing very, very well. The support is massive for Chamisa. He went around yesterday, I think that was in Chivi, and the bodyguards had a hard time stopping people from mobbing Chamisa. He's very, very popular. There's nothing that will happen to Chamisa's popularity. And any day, if Mnangagwa was to have an election against Chamisa, he's going to lose. That is well known. Now, let's go to other community news. There was an accident this weekend. It claimed 5 teachers. So 5 teachers passed away in that one accident. This was a horrific accident. And Owen Mudengube was presiding on this burial last week. I think that was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. So these are the teachers that passed away. They died in this head-on collision with the haulage track. So this is the accident, horrific accident that happened just outside of Kwekwe. So this is, let me see who are the people here who passed away. That is Tsungirirai Joe, 57, Mitchel Maticha, 22, Sithabile Nothando Moyo, 33, Everjoy Ngwenya, 38, and Leslie Mugwidi, 29. So these are the teachers that passed away. The accidents that are happening on Zimbabwe's fronts are very bad. They're horrific. And these are young people here passing away. Following on this accident that I showed you yesterday of the city bus, where there was this massive head-on crash between the buses. So one thing I can suggest for you if you're in Zimbabwe, based on what has happened in the past, when I was working at the bank, they actually had a rule that you cannot drive anywhere after 6. So if you're in Zimbabwe, don't travel after 6. I had an accident myself just outside of Harare. I think that was a few years ago, and I almost died there. We went into a haulage truck, and that was because of the dark. So don't travel in Zimbabwe in the dark. The roads are very bad, and they're not properly lit. So don't do it if you're in Harare. If you're in Zimbabwe, sleep in a hotel. If you don't have money, sleep in your car. You wake up the next day and you go where you're going. Then Chigumba is in Russia observing the elections. She's been showing off over there. And what has happened is that in Zimbabwe, Russia is what we call diaspora vote. And 70 Russians have voted. Sorry, did I see that correctly? That is Chigumba there. Russia has got 70 Zimbabweans. Sorry, Russia has got 70 Russians in Zimbabwe who voted. So Russia has got diaspora vote. They managed to vote, and the ambassador was on TV yesterday speaking about it. So I don't know why Zimbabwe does not have diaspora vote, and I don't know whether Chigumba knows that there were actually Russians who voted in Zimbabwe, 70 of them. So it's crazy. And what are the Russians doing in Zimbabwe? Most of them are lecturers at universities. They work in government programs. When I were at NAST, our physics teachers were from Russia. I think the guys who remember the Russians who came to teach in Zimbabwe at that time. That's why the NAST curriculum is so crazy. If you look at the NAST science curriculum, it's a crazy curriculum. It makes no sense at all. Like they make it so difficult for no reason. Let's look at other stories here. And I want to now quickly go into community news. I'm going to start with Baba Ishmael. It turns out that this woman is Japreza's sister. That's Baba Ishmael's wife, his first wife, Tendai Mukombe. You know, Japreza is called Mukudze Mukombe. You'll find this story in the H Metro newspaper. H Metro doing a very good job. You find this story. They are related, so it's crazy. And this is the homestead of Baba Ishmael in Murewa. That's where she stays with the 2 kids. The 2 kids are not going to school. So go and check out that story in the H Metro newspaper. Very interesting. They've got so much detail about this story, and you'll be able to understand everything that's going on over there. Then there is this young lady here, a celebrity. She is called Evangelista Sandy. She is trending also in H Metro after she was arrested for cyberbullying. So you can go and check out the story in the H Metro newspaper. That is what's happening in our community. People who are on social media don't know how much money you can make on social media. So I'm often surprised when I see our young ladies, when they go on social media, they make a lot of noise, they do a lot of useless things. Social media is a business. You can make a lot of money. I was talking to one young lady who is making $8,000, a Zimbabwean young lady who's making $8,000 a month on social media. So if you're on social media, it's not a place for cyberbullying. It's a place for you to make money. So these young ladies that are seeing, they go for views, but some of them don't know how to make money from social media. So that's the point I wanted to make. Young Zigo had a meeting with Chavangu. I don't know what that was all about. I don't talk to Zigo myself for a very long time. I haven't talked to him. Zigo was the first person to start Gambako Media. He was the first manager at Gambako Media. Everything that you see that was set up, the website, all the people that are working in Harare, that was being done by Zigo. But I don't know what he's doing with the Chavangu. In fact, I know what's happened. So what's happened is that ZANU has taken over Zigo, from my understanding. And that's a bad idea, young man, if you are working with ZANU now. Now let's go to Africa news. In fact, before we go to Africa news, let's go to sports news. Highlanders 1-1 with Bulawayo Chiefs, and Chegutu Pirates 0-1 to ZPC Kariba. So the Kariba guys won. This is how the league looks right now after the first day match. So I'm going to send you the match day 2 log sometime next week. They delay. The website is very slow. So you can see the new companies that are there. The new teams are owned by companies. This is the type of soccer that is there now in Zimbabwe. Simba Bora, Greenfield, Highlanders, Chicken Inn, FC Platinum, Tel 1. So almost every team is owned by a company right now on the PSL, which means the sponsorship, they're using soccer mostly for advertising their brands. Then we have, obviously, the Herald is showing this picture of Chiwenga, Mohadi, and Mnangagwa. So one thing I like about General Chiwenga is he is keeping a close watch on ED. So everywhere that ED goes, he's there. And obviously, Mnangagwa is using Chiwenga for cover because Mnangagwa doesn't know who is coming after him, except for this kind of thing. When he goes here to meet with these youth leaders, he doesn't go with Chiwenga because they're obviously plotting against Chiwenga in this kind of meetings. Then we go to Africa news. Violence broke out in KZN during a meeting which was addressed by President Ramaphosa between ANC members and IFP members. The election in South Africa is to be watched. There's going to be a very big problem, especially with the new MK party of Jacob Zuma. And if people are not careful, something very big is going to happen during this election in South Africa, because MK is very strong, Jacob Zuma is very strong, and there's a lot happening around this election that we need to watch. 11 ANC members were injured, and let's see how that goes. We'll be keeping a watch until the 29th of May. Then in terms of the Reserve Bank of South Africa, the Reserve Bank governor has been reappointed. So this is the Lesesha Kganyago. He's been reappointed as the Reserve Bank governor. He's well respected in industry, and people love the way his policies are. His policies in the Reserve Bank of South Africa, South African Reserve Bank. The rand is weak, but it's not weakening. So it's been weak, playing around 18, 19 for a very, very long time. It went down to 20. The problem is prices. The prices of items here in South Africa are crazy because of the weak exchange rate. If you go into a shop today, after a month, you go back, the same product has gone up quite a bit, more than 10%. The prices are going up very, very high. And people are not affording these products that are here in South Africa. So let me see if I forgot anything else here, and then we'll take it from there. We've got guys who were arrested for stealing cables, cable theft. So I want to look at those guys. 4 Bulawayo people, including Anachiangwa, were arrested here for stealing cables in Bulawayo. So this is the almost 4 tons, I think, of cables that they store here in Mahachula. Bulawayo, they were arrested. So this is multi-millions in terms of what they store here. So I think we're done with the top stories. Let's now go to our comments, and then I'll recap with the story on Chamisa. So Chamisa has tweeted. You can look at Chamisa tweeted on that very story of the burial at Patrick Cheza, his mother-in-law, which took place at a homestead in Ward 9, Chivi North. He tweeted about that, and he was surrounded, obviously, by a lot of people that came from different political parties. Right, then Mkomati was saying, Arbudaxia is Savannah Chiwenga Pamene. That is regarding Mnangagwa. But Mnangagwa will not succeed. We're going to see a lot happening very, very soon. Succession politics is going to be very brutal going forward. Because Mnangagwa, he's got certain beliefs about what way we need to go. But the guys who are there are very, very strong. The military guys are very, very strong. And there is a military process that is going to take place. Not someone can become a third-term president, change the constitution. That will not happen. I can assure you, my brothers, you are not going to see Mnangagwa again after this term. This is the last term that Mnangagwa is ever going to be seen. Then I want to look at something else. Let's look here. 8 million in Zimbabwe online. No way. I know big time online merchants that can't make that much. They're based in Canada and in US. So Mgoma Amos is talking about what I said about a young lady who's making $8,000 online. So what they're doing is the content which is there. Remember, Zimbabwe YouTube is very small. I think on YouTube, the top channel is musicians. So Ana Japreza, Ana Macheso, they don't have big YouTube. Madam Boss is very small YouTube. In fact, Gambako has got the biggest YouTube in Zimbabwe in terms of content and in terms of views. Because let's say Tafi the man, he can have a video in it 200,000 views, but he posts once in 3 weeks. Gambako posts every day. He gets 50,000 views every day. So if you say 50,000 views times 30 days, Gambako will have the biggest views in terms of everyone else. However, on Facebook, you've got girls whose names I won't mention. She'll be talking there and she can get 1 million views. That's how they end up with the $8,000. So if you look at Tatelicious, I'm giving Tatelicious for example. If she's live, she's got 5,000 women online. So that's how they make money on Facebook. Facebook is paying Zimbabwean women more than YouTube. But if you want to make a business model for a guy, you probably need to have a different model because you won't have 5,000 people in front of you. So my views at Zimbabwe, they don't come from a live. They come from during the day. That's when people watch our videos. If you look at this video now, it's got 500 views. But if you come back in the evening, this same video will be having 30,000 views. And then my other platforms will have the rest of the 20,000. And our Facebook is not the same as the Facebook. So you have to understand why I'm explaining these things. The audience is very different. And our women, they can make a lot of money, but not to go to a police station and throw off your clothes and all that and get arrested. That's not how you make it. Then in terms of the platform profits, if you have got a platform, you can then go over and start new businesses. So if I come to your office and I say, Mkoma, ndukumbira kuti mudipe tender yeku supplier my t-shirt, you most likely give me that tender because you know me here, you see me every day. But Mkoma MS vakasvika. Vanofana kutanga vatsanangura kuti ndinonzi Mkoma MS ndinobva kwakati ndakamboita zvakati. So those are the business models that are there online. And young Zimbabweans are not taking advantage of those business opportunities online. We need to be having at least 1 billion coming from social media. South Africa and Zimbabwe, they are very slow in terms of social media. In Nigeria, if they upload a movie, that movie can have 2, 3, 4 million views. And if you've got 1 million views, you're already on $1,000. With 1 million views, it's already 1,000. So if a Nigerian movie has got 243 million views, that's what $243,000. So someone like Wodemaya, well, he doesn't get to millions, but he really does well. And he also has a lot of sponsorship. So I just wanted to clarify what I mean about my business models online. And eventually, we have to improve the quality of production. The quality of production is very poor. the guys with good quality production, they've got poor news. Like ZBC, they've got very poor news. They don't do well. They talk to Zezan all the time. People don't want to listen to that. So your audience is not going to engage with you. So let's recap. And obviously, I want to start with my condolences to these teachers here. Very sad. They passed away, and I'm sure the kids are very distraught over this whole issue. Then let's go to Chamisa, and let's close with a speech by Chamisa. Chamisa said that SADC, he is in negotiations with SADC. He's asked SADC to come to Zimbabwe and mediate. And that is the position Chamisa is looking at SADC to continue with the mediation. And that is where we're going to be looking. So let me go out with that statement by Nelson Chamisa. And obviously, the one story that I'd forgotten is this story here. Zimbabweans in South Africa, if you've got a fake work permit, if you've got a fake permanent residence, you just better start packing and leave. Because this is an election issue now. Everyone is looking at Zimbabweans in high-level positions. I've had an opportunity to work in the South African government. So last year, I took a break from publishing, and I went and worked in the South African government. That was an experience and a half. The South African government has got no capacity. That's all I can say to you. Things are not moving in government departments because they don't have capacity. That's why they have to employ these guys as CEOs and COOs and CFOs. Being a CFO, for example, the Northwest Development Corporation, they are not going to get the same CEO as Kudakwa Mpofu, who is actually causing this problem now. Kudakwa Mpofu is a fake work permit, permanent residence, and he's in court. Now the minister has intervened. So there has to be a point when the South African government just has no employees from Zimbabwe in the South African government. Then they deal with the problem that they have. They've got so many openings, and the people that actually work there, I cannot say much. I think most of you guys know what is happening. You also know the kind of stories that are happening. There's another head who I know personally, who is currently 4 years on suspension, and that brother has been going to hearing after hearing for the past 4 years. So a high-level position in the South African government is probably not a good idea. If you see an advertisement written South African government pass, if you see an advert written Department of what pass, find something in the private sector or do your own business. You do better that way than having the stress of working in the South African government where you're always being suspected of being an illegal immigrant. So now let's go to Chamisa's speech on SADC. We are all waiting for Nelson Chamisa to give us direction. But for the first time Chamisa has come out, he has given a speech. He's waiting for SADC to provide direction and to provide mediation on the Zimbabwe crisis. Right, thank you very much, and I'll be back tomorrow if nothing big happens today. But if something happens, I'll come back with breaking news. Thank you very much, everyone. And